Hello and welcome to the Dynamics Byte. Today, we are going to talk about how system administrators can set up and configure the expense agent. To set up and configure expense agent, here is a list of high-level steps that are required. Let's understand details against these steps and see in action how they can be configured. We will start with prerequisites for enabling expense agent, how to enable expense agent, enable copilot features, and set up billing plans. Create agent user, set up agent identity by setting up appropriate permissions, create a shared mailbox, create required connections through agent user, and agent installation through PowerShell script. Finally, we will also cover Teams bot installation so users in the organization can interact with expense agent through Teams. Prerequisites for enabling expense agent. To enable expense agent driven capabilities in Microsoft Dynamics 365, it is essential to be running version 10.0.44 or later. Make sure to install the latest quality updates to ensure all components are up to date. The Dataverse environment must be linked to Dynamics 365 Finance and Operations environment. On the Power Platform side, it is also crucial to have the solution package Copilot for Finance and Operations apps installed. Make sure to take the latest version of the package. Meeting these prerequisites ensures a seamless and fully functional expense agent in your Dynamics 365 environment. Additionally, features must be activated through feature management, namely Immersive Home Agent Management. Immersive Home introduces a modern AI powered experience as the new default start page in finance and operations, designed to support agents and copilot functionality. Once these features are enabled, we can enable the expense agent per legal entity. To enable the agent, go to expense management parameters, and on the expense entry agent tab, we have to enable the expense agent and set up frequency and group reports by parameters. Enabling Copilot and billing. To ensure Copilot works correctly in your Dynamics 365 environment, you need to verify that it's enabled in the Power Platform Admin Center, confirm that messaging billing is active, and make sure the required capacity has been purchased and assigned to the environment. Set up agent user. We will create an agent user and it will be used to interact with Dataverse, Microsoft Copilot Studio, and other components of the solution. For best security and easier maintenance, it is recommended to use a separate dedicated identity. Based on your organization policies, you may be required to set up multi-factor authentication for the agent user. We will assign licenses to the agent user. We are still working on refining the license requirement for agent user. You can always find the latest license requirements for the agent user on Expense Agent Learn page, for which the link is provided below. Set up agent identity. We will assign permissions to the agent user created in previous step. We will assign specific security roles in Dataverse, Dynamics 365 Finance, and Microsoft Graph Explorer. In Dataverse, these include Expense AI Agent, Finance and Operations Agent Configuration Manager, and System Customizer. In Dynamics 365 Finance, the roles needed are System User and System Administrator. In Graph Explorer, provide consent for mail.read.shared permission. Assigning these roles ensure the agent has the right permissions to function correctly across platforms. The latest can be found on the expense agent page in the Learn documentation. Create shared mailbox. We will create a shared mailbox through Microsoft 365 Admin Center and grant permission to the agent user on this mailbox. Users in the organization will use the shared mailbox to create their expenses. Create required connections. To fully enable the expense agent, it's important to set up the necessary connections. This process begins in the Power Apps Maker portal, where you need to be signed in as an environment administrator. First, create a new connection for Microsoft Dataverse, making sure to authenticate using the dedicated agent identity. Then repeat the process to create connections for other components. Ensure that you are authenticating these connections by signing in with the agent user identity. Agent installation. The next step is to set up the agent installation and it can either be completed manually or through PowerShell script. Details on manual installation is published on the Learn page and link is provided below. It can also be installed through PowerShell script and script can be downloaded from the Learn page. Due to number of steps involved, it is recommended to install the expense agent through PowerShell script. The PowerShell script installs the agent, activate all required flows and publish the agents. The version required for PowerShell script is 7 or higher. Key components required for the installation of agent are Dataverse Environment ID, Dataverse Environment URL, Dynamics 365 Finance and Operations URL, Outlook folder path, mailbox address ID, and connection names, total of 5. TeamSpot installation. Final step in the expense agent installation is TeamSpot installation. To install TeamSpot, create a channel on the agent through Microsoft Copilot Studio. Set up availability options, personalize Teams channel to different team bots across environments, publish agent and submitting the channel for approval. Channel will need to be approved by Teams administrator, and once approved, users in the organization can add the expense agent Teams bot in Teams by adding an app. Let's review all the steps through a quick demonstration. Prerequisites for enabling expense agent. So here I'm logged in into Dynamics 365 Finance, and we will validate Dynamics 365 Finance version by clicking on Help and Support and then click on About. We can see that the environment version is 10.0.44. Another prerequisite is that the Dynamics 365 Finance environment must be linked to a Dataverse environment. Let's switch to Power Platform Admin Center. Here I have selected my environment from environment page to view environment details. Here we can see the environment URL for the Dataverse environment, which is connected to Dynamics 365 Finance. Next, we will validate that Copilot for Finance and Operations app solution is installed. To validate, we can click on Dynamics 365 apps and look for the solution. Here we can see the presence of Copilot for Finance and Operations app indicates that the solution has been installed. If there are any updates available, make sure those updates are applied. If the solution is not installed, you can click on Dynamics 365 apps, find the solution, click Install, select the right environment and click Install to start the installation. Now, once the solution is installed, the Copilot Studio for the specific environment will have the agents automatically installed in it. So here we will now switch over to Microsoft Copilot Studio and have selected the right environment. Here we can see the agents. We should see two agents starting with expense, expense entry agent and expense agent line. You should click on both of them one by one and then make sure that the agent is loaded successfully. You are not getting any errors while loading the agent. Also ensure that publish button is enabled. Remember to repeat the same step with the other agent as well. Enabling agents in finance and operations. To enable the features in Dynamics 365 Finance, go to the workspaces, click on Feature Management, once it loads, go to All, search features using the feature name field, make sure your search is using contains, and then search for immersive. You should see a feature named immersive home. Make sure that this feature is enabled. If this feature is not enabled, you can select the feature and instead of this button, disable. Here you will see enable now. Click on that button to enable the feature. The other feature that we should be enabling is agent. So search using the keyword agent. And the feature that is of interest to us is agent management. Make sure this feature is enabled as well. Once these two features are enabled, we will enable expense agent through expense management parameters. Go to modules, select expense management, click on expense management parameters, go to expense entry agent tab, ensure enable expense agent for current legal entity is set to yes. Set up two other parameters, which is frequency with an option of either daily or weekly, and group reports by project or trip. Remember to enable agent functionality under expense management parameters for other legal entities as required. Enabling Copilot and billing. Next, we want to ensure that the Copilot features are enabled in the Dataverse environment and we have appropriate billing plans in place. To do that, here I'm in Power Platform Admin Center and on the environment details page. Click on Settings. Under Product, click on Features and ensure that the Copilot feature is enabled. So that's step one. Step two is we need to ensure that the billing plan is in place. To view that, click on Licensing, Copilot Studio, and make sure that either pay as you go message is set up or prepaid capacity is available. If none of these are set up, then you can create a new billing plan by clicking on New Billing Plan and follow the steps to create a billing plan. Set up agent user. In this section, we'll create an agent user and it will be used to interact with Dataverse, Microsoft Copilot Studio, and other components of the solution. To create a new user, here I'm logged in into Microsoft 365 Admin Center. Under Users, I've selected Active Users. Click on Add a User. Enter first name for the agent user. Enter username, select the right domain, click Next. On this page, we will assign the licenses. We will assign Dynamics 365 Project Operations, Microsoft 365 Business Standard, Microsoft Copilot Studio Viral Trial. Know that we are still working on finalizing the licensing requirements, and latest is available on the Learn page for Expense Agent. Click on Next. Click on Next. Click Finish Adding to create the users in the Microsoft Entra. We'll be using this user for expense agent processing. Depending upon your organization policy, you may be required to enable MFA. Please take those steps based on your organization policies. Set up agent identity. In this section, we'll assign the permission to the agent user that we created in the previous step. We're still working on finalizing the security roles, and latest is available on Learn page for Expense Agent. We will start with Dynamics 365 Finance. To create a user, go to Modules, System Administration, click on Users, click Import Users, search the user using the email address, select, click Import Users. Once the user has been imported, search the user again in the Users, click on the user ID, click on Assign Roles, search the role System Administrator, select the role, click OK. Next, we'll create the user in the Power Platform environment. Here, I'm logged in into the Power Platform Admin Center and have selected the right environment, and I'm on All Users page. To add a user, click on Add User. enter the email address, click add. On this page, now we need to select or assign the security roles. Here we will assign Expense AI agent role, Finance and Operations agent configuration manager, and system customizer. We also need to provide permissions in the Graph Explorer. So here I'm logged in into the Graph Explorer using the agent user. Click on consent to permissions. Search for mail, expand. Here make sure that for mail.read.shared we have provided the consent. This completes setting up the agent identity. Create shared mailbox. In this section, we'll create a shared mailbox through Microsoft 365 Admin Center and grant permissions to the agent user on this mailbox. Here, I'm logged in into Microsoft 365 Admin Center and have selected shared mailboxes under Teams and Groups. To add a new mailbox, click on Add a Shared Mailbox. Put in the name. Click on Domains. Make sure the right domain is selected. Click on Save Changes. Once the mailbox has been created, click on Add Members to your shared mailbox. Click Add Members, search the agent user, click Add. This concludes the shared mailbox creation. Create required connections. In this section, we'll create some connections to fully enable the expense agent functionality. To create connections, here I'm logged in into Power Apps Maker portal using the agent user and have selected the right environment. Now to create connections, we can click on More, Connections, click New Connection, search using name. So in this case, the first connection that we are creating is Microsoft 8 Hours. Select Microsoft 8 Hours, authentication type as OAuth, click Create, authenticate using the agent user, and that completes our first connection. The next one that we are going to create is Office 365 Outlook. Repeat the same steps. Click on Create, authenticate. The next one that we are going to create is Office 365 Users. Next one is going to be Microsoft Teams. Ensure that you always authenticate these connections using the agent user. And the last one is going to be Microsoft Copilot Studio. Create, authenticate. This concludes the connection creation for Expense Agent. Agent installation. In this section, we'll proceed with the agent installation using PowerShell. Here, I'm running PowerShell as administrator. There are a couple of requirements that should be met if you want to install the expense agent through PowerShell. Number one, it needs to be PowerShell 7 or higher. Number two, the execution policy should be set to remote signed for the local machine. If it's not set, you can set it up by using the command set-execution policy and set it to remote sign. Once it's completed, you can check the latest. In this case, we can validate that for local machine, it is set to remote sign. I've also copied the script from our learn page and have stored it in an agent folder, and the file is named expenseagent.ps1. Once we hit enter, it will start asking for all the environment variables. So the first environment variable is the date hours environment ID. The next is the date hours URL. Ensure that the address starts with HTTPS and there are no slashes in the N. The next one is Dynamics 365 Finance and Operations URL. Next is the Outlook folder path. In this case, we are using the default, which is inbox. We need to specify the mailbox address ID that we created in previous step. and the connection names. So we created 5 connections using the agent user. So we'll just specify the agent user. Now it will validate that we have installed PowerShell 7, and now it's asking us to log into Azure. We need to copy this code and go to https:/microsoft.com/device-login. Here we can enter the code, login using the agent user. Once this is done, now the agent installation can continue. We will give it a few minutes, and in the end, once the execution is completed, it will give us a message that installation has been completed successfully. Teams bot installation. In this section, we will install the Teams bot for the expense agent. To start the installation, here I am logged in into Copilot Studio and I have selected the right environment. Then click on Agents and select Expense Entry Agent. Once it loads, click on Channels. Click on Teams and Microsoft 365 Copilot. Click Add Channel. Click Edit Details. Here we will add the environment name to the Teams bot. This is helpful if you are deploying Teams bot across multiple environments. Click Save. Click Close. Publish the agent. This might take a few seconds. Once the agent is published, we will go back to Teams and Microsoft 365 Copilot. Here, click on Availability Options. Here we have option, decide who you want to show your agent to. So we can restrict it to specific users in the organization, or we can share it with everyone in the organization. In this case, we are going to select the option Show to Everyone in my org and click Submit for admin approval. Once the request has been submitted, admin user can log in to the Microsoft Teams Admin Center. Here we'll click on Quick Refresh. Under Teams app, we can click on Manage Apps. Search for our app with name Expense. And here we can see that the app that we just published is available here and it's currently blocked. We can click on it and click on Publish. Once it's published, now users in the organization can go to the Teams and add this Teams bot. Once users are signed into Teams, they can add the expense agent Teams bot to their Teams app. To add, click on Apps, search for expense entry, click on build for your org, select your app. So in this case, we can see that the environment name is available in the app. Click on add, click add. The TeamSpot has been successfully added for the end user. This concludes the TeamSpot addition to Teams for end users.